"Move it, old man!" One of the teenagers laughed as he shoved the frail veteran backward, hard enough that his cane slipped and his body stumbled into the street. The screech of brakes followed instantly. A delivery van swerved just in time, its driver screaming as he leaned on the horn. The 92-year-old man crashed to the ground, narrowly missing the curb. Groans of pain escaped him as he clutched his ribs. His World War II hat tumbled into the gutter, dust and gravel scraping against his skin. The kids didn't even look back. They were too busy filming it. 3 of them, hoods up, phones out, laughing as they sprinted off down the block. "We just leveled a World War dinosaur," one yelled as they disappeared into the crowd at a downtown San Diego bus stop. 10 minutes later, the street fell dead silent. But not before a ripple had started, barely noticeable at first. A young woman who had seen the entire assault helped the veteran to his feet. Blood was dripping down his elbow, but his eyes remained focused, burning. "Did anyone get their faces?" he asked through gritted teeth. The woman nodded, voice shaking. "I recorded it. You're bleeding. Should I call someone?" He shook his head. "Call the Marines." She blinked. "What?" "I said," he repeated with quiet thunder, "call the Marines." And she did, because that 92-year-old man wasn't just any veteran. That was Master Gunnery Sergeant Paul J. Colburn, United States Marine Corps, retired. Veteran of the Pacific Theater. He had fought at Iwo Jima. He had stormed beaches so brutal the sand turned black from blood. And as it turns out, he was heading to a Marine Corps reunion just 2 blocks away. Word spread fast. 10 minutes later, the first Marine appeared. Then 5 more. Then a dozen. They weren't in uniform, but they didn't need to be. One had Semper Fi tattooed across his forearm. Another wore a faded 1st Battalion, 5th Marines bull cap. One by one, they gathered around Colburn, lifting him gently from the sidewalk, hands steady, eyes locked. "Where are they?" one of them asked, jaw tight. Colburn pointed with a trembling hand. "Bus stop." The Marines moved with precision honed by war. No shouting, no chaos. Just cold, focused silence. They surrounded the teenagers before they even realized they were being hunted. One teen turned, face pale. "Yo, what is this?" A Marine stepped forward, tall, built like a wall, scars down one arm. "That man you shoved, he wore the uniform before your grandparents were born. He bled for this country. You bled nothing." Another Marine pulled out a phone. "We've got your faces. We've got your video. We've already sent it to the San Diego Police Department." The teenagers tried to laugh it off. "We didn't mean," one Marine snapped. "Didn't mean to throw a 92-year-old veteran into traffic." People began gathering. The crowd grew. Bus riders, bystanders. One off-duty police officer stepped into the circle. Then came the patrol cars. The teens were detained on the spot. Phones confiscated, charges, elder assault, reckless endangerment, and hate-based targeting of a protected citizen class under California Penal Code 368. Master Gunnery Sergeant Colburn watched from a distance, leaning on one of the Marines' shoulders. His face was swollen, but his voice never faltered. "They think we're fragile," he muttered. "But discipline never dies, and neither does brotherhood." The arrest was quiet, but the aftermath was not. That night, the footage went viral. Millions watched in horror as the teens shoved the old man. But even more watched what came after. The Marines forming around him like a living wall of justice. A symbol of what respect looks like. The backstory emerged quickly. Paul J. Colburn had enlisted in 1943. Fought in Saipan, carried a wounded friend for 2 miles under machine gun fire. Hadn't missed a Marine reunion in 40 years. He wore his faded Pacific Theater cap every day since the day he buried his best friend, also a Marine, back in 1961. He had lived history, and now he was the victim of kids who didn't know the meaning of sacrifice. But what they didn't expect was that Marines do not forget their own. The next morning, news vans lined the street outside the veteran's apartment. Local businesses raised money to cover his medical bills. A parade was announced for Veterans Day in his honor. Colburn smiled, but only once. "The parade isn't for me," he said. "It's for the ones who didn't come home." Weeks later, the 3 teenagers stood before a judge. The courtroom was packed. Colburn entered slowly, supported by two Marines. He made no speech, just looked at the boys. And in his silence, they found more weight than any sentence. The judge, after handing down probation and mandatory community service at a VA hospital, offered one final word. Let this be a lesson, not just in law, but in honor. As the gavel fell, the courtroom stood. Not in celebration, in respect. Because when Marines rise for one of their own, the world stops to watch. Before we end this story, let us know in the comment, where are you watching from? If this story touched you, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and drop a karma in the comments below.